That's breakfast, everybody. Let's go ahead and start. Roll call, please, Jen.
Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Jennifer Finley, Jim Molitor, Carol Langford, Danielle Matt, Bing Matt, James Steele Jr.,
Una.
Martin Charlo, Len Tooteeth, Lenice Trahan. She's here.
Looks like Martin's online. Will you start us off with a prayer, please, Tom?
Creator, I want to thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for all the gifts that you've given us, our family, our friends, our environment. We want to pray for all those that are sick today, that they get well. We will pray for all those that have lost loved ones. Their sorrow goes away quickly. I want to pray for all those people that put themselves in harm's way, from our law enforcement to military, to all those helping others that are sick, our doctors, our teachers, our community service workers, those that have dedicated their careers to the service of others. We give you thanks for all those things. We pray that you'll give us good thoughts today, that we can care for our resources and our people in the best way we can. We do all this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Tom. We have minutes from May 9th. I don't know what's going on. Computer's messing with me. Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the May 9th minutes with any additions.
Motion by Tom to approve, second by James. All in favor? We have 6-4 and Jimmy abstains. We have an agenda for today. Do we have any additions to that agenda? 2 walk-ins, I see.
Mr. Chair, I
Go ahead, Tom.
make the motion to approve today's council agenda with the additions.
Motion by Tom. Lynn has an issue. Any other additions? Warren and Martin? I would entertain a second to Tom's motion. Martin, executive. Second by Jimmy. Approve the agenda with the additions. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay. We'll move to our first walk-in. John, come on up. Morning. Welcome. Thank you.
I wasn't aware of it until last Thursday, so. And what it's about, it's for, it's from 0 to 5, and it's a grant program that sponsors childcare and purchase of equipment, and it's for $1,500, and we're pushing in another $1,500 to buy this little, I don't know, little entertainment thing to where they learn different things on it. And it's through the Helping Hands grant proposal. And I'm asking for that to be approved.
Motion by Lynn, second by Danielle to approve the request for grant, pursuing a grant for, you said how much?
1,500.
1,500. All in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Computer screwing with me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Frank, you're up. Come on up. Good morning. Welcome. Are you requesting this in executive or in open? Oh, do you? Oh, good. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, George.
Good job, part-time George.
I don't know if Len's was in executive or not. Go ahead, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. I chose to leave this in open. I wanted to talk about the letter that the Lake County Commissioners have sent to the governor's office. Now, I'm not sure why we never addressed this issue, but this is clearly racial discrimination. And if you note on the letter, they acknowledge that they will refuse services to a race of people. Okay? If we did that in our organization, we'd be in court. And I just shake my head over stuff like this, because once again, the commissioners have brought out their true colors and will continue to respond like this. And I don't know why elected leaders would even sign off on a letter like that. That clearly acknowledges that we are discriminating against the tribes. And because I think if we were to take them to court, we could use that for evidence right there. But I'm just tired of the tribes sitting idle on this issue. We're being told that to hold off on a press release or any kind of information out to our membership. Next week is a deadline. Next week, I think it's next Monday. Okay. But I just want to publicly acknowledge that to the members, this is what we're dealing with. And it's just frustrating because I just feel like we're sitting idle. We're not doing nothing. And I just feel I feel we're dealing a disservice to the membership by not responding in some fashion, in some manner, just letting them know that our staff is working on it. But even that's not part of any kind of message. So, but I just wanted to quickly bring up that letter because that letter was clearly something that should be addressed in at the ACLU level when you are doing that type of discrimination to a race of people. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, and I know we're going to be talking about it here again shortly, but I just wanted to publicly let the membership know that we're working on this, but I just don't like the way we're not responding to the commissioners at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Any other remarks? Any thoughts? Tom, then James.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate Lynn's concerns. The interesting thing about those points in the letter that he's referencing, I'll use as one example. I think one, if I recall, it might be the last bullet, where a member of the federally recognized Indian tribe residing on Lake County and Lake County boundaries within the exterior boundaries of the reservation will be denied coroner services. And if you are one of those individuals that are paying property tax to Lake County, that's just a classic example of being taxed for a service that you're not being rendered. So that in itself kind of just put that in context of what is going to be happening here. Certainly that is something that's very, very concerning. It should be something that if I was a Lake County official, I would be deeply concerned about. Taxing someone and then not providing the service that the tax is for. That is a tremendous issue. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Go ahead, James.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Lynn and Tom, for your comments. You know, it's interesting. It says the county will no longer accept enrolled tribal members in our detention facility. Where do we redirect these individuals? And the county will no longer pay the cost of housing tribal juveniles. The county will no longer be performing autopsies. Tribal inmates sentenced to state system will also need to be relocated to another facility. So, I mean, this is, you know, we've got tribal members that are in the jail up there. So what are they going to do? Let them go? Okay, let them go. We got tribal members that are in Deer Lodge and Crossroads up in Shelby and over in Billings. What are they going to do? Kick them all loose? Okay, kick them loose. That's on them. And The other thing I wanted to ask, I responded to Craig's question. I said, I said, have you had any answer to your questions? And he said, no, he hadn't had any answer. You know, he emailed us on May the 6th. And his response to me was, he put a copy of that current letter we're talking about. And he said, I need to get something out to the public regarding jurisdiction after PL 280. I would highly recommend cross-commission deputization of local jurisdictions as soon as Tuesday, along with a press release to cover what our plan is. So we definitely need to have something. We need a response to Craig, and we need to make some decisions. Whether we don't make a decision, it's a decision. Whether we decide nothing, something will occur. So.
Go ahead, Lynn.
I also want to acknowledge that the tribes are property taxpayers also. And it's a substantial amount. And it just, the county still has that obligation. They need to provide services just like any other county in the state of Montana. And but I just think it's important that that is publicly acknowledged. And I would like to find out exactly how much property taxes we're paying right now, because I know that there are some deed trust parcels that have missed a deadline, and now we're paying a substantial amount of property taxes.
I would imagine that would be at least probably tripled by the number of tribal members that pay taxes as well. So agreed, that's a large number. Tom?
Well, yeah, if this continues down this way, I would just recommend that any of our tribal members that have fee property that they're paying taxes on, along with the tribal government, that we automatically cease those payments and that it be treated as such, because they're taxing without services. And we would just simply make sure that there's no taxing authority for a tribal member, since they're laying it out there just like that. Would be my recommendation. Of course, if you're from the Little Shell Band, also, they would be in the same situation if they're residing on our reservation. So, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Jim.
You know, for the last few months that I've been back, the commissioners I don't know, have they ever sent us a formal letter with the commission letterhead? They've wanted to talk to council members individually. They've wanted to send letters with no official letterhead, but when it comes to the governor, they'll do an official letter. When it comes to blasting us, they'll do official letter. They're doing all of these things. They're treating it's just basic disrespect. If we get something from Missoula County, it's on official letterhead. They're not backdooring us. They're not. It's just, you know, I just am frustrated with them at any turn. You know, years ago it was Mike Hutchins, and, you know, a different crew, but it was the same general kind of thing. But we at least would meet with them on a regular basis. Patty Tressler and all them. I mean, we still kind of had these disagreements, but we met with them on a regular basis. But I think after we hear the report with the legal a little later, I think we should, you know, get into a discussion about and answer some of these things that Craig had asked as well.
Thank you, James. I'm sure there will be a report during legal. We actually had a short call with the lieutenant governor yesterday, and I'm sure that will get reported well. Martin. Oh, Danielle?
No, the letter was extremely disturbing, and yes, you know, we're in open. So it's a reminder to our residents, our tribal member residents of Lake County, to make sure they're out there voting, because that can change the direction and the future of the county and the reservation we live in. So If anything, we need to make sure we're really asking our people to vote.
Good point. Good point.
One more follow-up, Mr.
James?
Chair, on that point. So remember, we have, every 10 years, you have the ability to vote for a review of the local government. So those of us that live in the county, Missoula or Sanders or what have you, on the back of the Lake County ballot is option to review for reviewing Lake County government. That's a no-brainer. It's easy, vote for it, then at least force them to review Lake County government. If you live in a municipality, if you live in Mission or one of them, you'll have one for the city and one for the county. And Folsom went through that years ago, and then they end up with the executive form of government or whatever, but
Thanks, James. With that, Martin, you wanted executive? Okay. Is Ruthie ready? Like we can take a 2-minute break if Ruth is coming down. Get that half done. Morning, Ruthie. Welcome. You're
Good
up.
morning. Page 78 in your packet, it appears. First item is going to be request to purchase capital equipment for the bison range, estimated cost 14,000, and we're going to include that in their current budget. This is funding we've been awarded from Fish and Wildlife Service for several years now. They're spending down 5.4 million. So there's ample funds available. Second is to request the purchase. I thought we already did this. I thought we did this last Thursday. I'm going, wait a minute, we did do that. Yeah, we did all this last Thursday. Sorry about that. Those are all done. Yeah, because we then had discussions about all of it. Am I on the right thing? Kiddo? Okay. This, the vending machines. That's what it is. Yeah, say the pharmacy vending machines. Okay. Get me there, Jen. Where am I supposed to go? No, this was done already. Yeah, these were already done last Thursday. Oh, wait. Yeah, and it says May, I'm sorry, May 9th. Which one am I supposed to be on? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. All right, let me get out of here. Okay, sorry about that. I know I was looking, why am I doing it? Okay, back to control. Page 2 on your agenda packet. Request to approve purchase of capital equipment, vending machines for the pharmacy, estimated cost 43,000 for the 3 units.
Motion, Mr. Chair, to approve.
Motion by James to approve the 43,000 for vending
I'm gonna
machines.
pull deja vu here.
Second by Martin. All in favor?
Okay, and then the next one,
Unanimous.
sorry.
Go ahead, Ruth.
Okay, the next item then is going to, and then can you scroll that for me, Jennifer? Here I had gone into the folder instead of, okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead and keep going. Look at that, isn't that cute? You're gonna see a vending machine like that in the pharmacy. In the Polson, Ronan, and Mission. Yeah, I was quite amazed at that. So modification 8, the big, really great, important one there, I just want to call your attention to is the third line down, natural resources, and then the 4th column over, the Indian Affairs Compact, 820,248. This came in for bison range, so we've been able to secure additional funding from BIA to keep us at least partially funded for that. So it provided a great relief of 800,000 that we previously had to approve of general fund to keep the bison range operations funded. So that was very welcomed. In the general fund side, in Health and Human Services, we've had to increase the dire need budget because they've overspent. So they now have a $125,000 dire need budget. They've already spent 108,000, so they are still almost fully expended there. We made 20,000 in the government operating is available for the donation to Two Eagle for their celebration. So we'll increase donations for that. Also a $500 increase to balance the expenditures for tribal election that was held in 2023. Per capita, then we can reduce the amount to offset those increases. So we reduced that by 48,500. We had a slight reduction in our tribal earmarks. And then the big increases are all in contracts and grants programs where all of those budgets are increased for the awarded amounts. 5,595,000. The net increase 6,413,976. Total allocations will now be 284,636,975. See, our general fund now has climbed to 76.6 million, even with that minor reduction. I have not de-obligated that 800,000 away from the bison range. They're just now starting the heaviest part of their season. So I'm going to work, pretty closely with Whisper Means to make sure that they are allocated what they need to operate, but nothing in excess if possible. Okay. So that is that for modification 8. Any questions?
Questions about? Go ahead, Martin.
The motion to approve the modification 8 to the fiscal year 2024 budget.
Motion by Martin, second by Tom for modification 8. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Lynn will probably show up at 9:50, so I don't know if you guys want to break or go into executive about your issue.
Yeah, we take 10. 10 minutes break.
For the other half of the donut.
Terry Bustamante, am I saying that right, Mr. Chair?
I can't tell you.
Okay, I think it's Bustamante, has approached the tribes with an interest in selling the majority of his allotment along the main stem Flathead River. The acquisition consists of about 85-ish acres, probably 90. He owns 91, but they want to retain about 5 acres, which I'll show you here in a second. The allotment contains over 2,500 feet of Flathead River frontage. Because this is down right at the reservation boundary and a portion of it is along the river, and then you have the highway, and then most of it is above the highway. We can really only justify the river portion of it with Bonneville Power funding. And of course, he doesn't really want to split it off, and sell the river later. So what we're proposing today is potentially a cost share. We've done this in the past. It's been a while where we use tribal dollars and BPA dollars on a per acre basis. We did it with Vullis years ago. I know there was one or two. We did it with Prince actually, where the tribes purchased 80 acres or so. We bought the rest. That was kind of the other lopside in this. But anyway, wondering if the council would want to potentially cost share this with BPA funds. To go into more detail. Now this map, our GIS system, I think has it wrong, and I'm trying to get correct maps, but I think the parcel, you guys can see my hand, right? Okay, I think the parcel actually kind of comes over here, loops around this weird thing, and then comes back. So it has a little more upland. There's not much more river because of the way the parcel lays, but that gives you the general vicinity. This is the reservation boundary. So it's the last parcel before you leave the res. So this parcel here is the white vinyl fence. That's Burgess Miller. Yeah, so let's see, here's just a closer up map. So again, the BPA would fund this portion of it, which is about 12 acres. The council potentially would fund with the general fund this portion here. They're going to retain 5 acres somewhere right around here. So they're going to retain all the buildings and structures. Now, Terry's mom does have a life estate on the entire parcel, but she intends to sign that away on what we purchase. So she'll just retain the life estate on the building portion that Terry owns. So it's kind of a complicated one. I am trying to find out how big the right-of-way is here for the river portion, because obviously if the right-of-way eats up the entire portion along the river, that might be harder to justify. So far, all I've found is in lands is very, 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 very old documents that are very hard to read. That looks like it's pretty narrow, which means we can justify it, which is good. But I'm trying to get a hold. I called the state last week. I'm trying to see if there's some kind of updated documents because LTRO tells me there might be something they don't have. So I'm trying to figure that out. But anyway.
Tom has a question.
Sure.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Lynn, do you know what the first round of draft highway improvements were for this area?
I don't.
So if you go back to your last map,
Okay.
right at see the island in the river where it says Tribal Trust?
Yep.
Up at, right about where the vinyl fence ends on Miller's, that's when they were going to cut over to the mountain.
Okay.
And basically that highway footprint you see there, everything you see becomes, well, not abandoned, it could be abandoned.
Okay.
But they move up and they go up on the bench. They go up, they elevate up about 150 feet above the current highway. That's their design plan to get around those curves and stuff. So, I don't know where it would cut through that wet meadow, but it might be even to the south of the wet meadow. And so I don't know, given the future plans, I don't know if it's possible to say that wet, it's obviously wet meadowy, could be reconnected to the river. Eventually, I don't know but that's really a cool piece of meadow land. I really enjoy it every time I drive by.
It's really pretty.
I see wildlife in there. It sometimes gets flooded. But it would be nice to be able to try to convince BPA to acquire that entire meadow because of its condition and proximity to the river, and the fact that they will be, if they do a highway improvement here, they're going to move the highway up if we grant that access to them to do it.
Okay, yeah, I can push on that and see if they'll do it. I know our guys were a little bit like, oh, we don't know if we can justify this, but maybe with that information, they could. And do you know, is there some kind of documentation, Mr. Vice Chair, that I can send to Bonneville and say this is the plan in the future for the road so that they, to just kind of prove our case, I guess?
Mr. Chair, yeah, Lynn, I think you could probably, get a hold of old Bob there at Missoula office and see what their old plans were, ask your roads guy in NRD.
We asked him, Craig called Scott Johnson, and Scott said there were no current plans for that area. So I guess we can shoot again with
we had to do a whole visual analysis because they wanted to go up above, like where the boat ramp is, way up, and there's another little bench way up there, and that's where they would elevate the whole highway to, and abandon the curves like where the boat launch is, and it would start at Miller's and
gotcha.
Go all the way out until you hit the flat on the other side of the narrow spot. Then we'll go back in, but that was their plan. And they scoped that for a little bit. So yeah, you'd have to go to MDOT to get some, see Bob.
Hopefully I'll give them a call back anyway.
That would, that would give you the ammunition to say, here's the only alternative, and they're going to do it eventually.
Right.
But you can see how that connects that slough. I used to go in there and check for fish, and it can be really easy connected back into the river ecosystem.
Gotcha. One other thing I should bring up is there is a reservation on the TSR for a cemetery. It's like 0.18 acres. I think it's somewhere over here, but wouldn't really be a big concern, I guess, other than for maybe the highway work. But it sounds like it would go above that. But there is a cemetery site somewhere in here that's pretty small.
Go ahead, Carol.
Curious. Well, first of all, since it's a boundary property, I would like to see us get it no matter what the situation is with the BPA funds, but also definitely verify that out by somebody that has the information. And then the third thing is how much would we have to appropriate from somewhere, because I don't think there's enough money in the land budget now that we're, buying other things.
With the speed that Bonneville moves, I don't think we could close this till after October 1 anyway.
Okay.
I'm going to push them to see if we can actually get it done by September 30th. But because it's trust, Bonneville can wire the funds before September 30th, and then the tribal funds come in a few days later. So that's happened, so I don't think that would be an issue, that if we did use tribal dollars, we could put it out to October 1. I don't know how much yet. Again, if we can't get Bonneville to do more than it would be about 12 acres on the river. The tribes would be responsible for the rest. I've got appraisal on order. I should have that hopefully by mid-June, but I don't have it yet. So
you don't have a guesstimate or anything? I mean, is it in the millions or is it less? Or
I don't know. There's nothing this size when I look at, what's sold down there. Everything's in the smaller acreages, so it's tough for me to say what it's worth, because, it's just been.
How many acres again?
It's about 91 total. They're going to retain 5 or under. And then again, BPA would either potentially buy just 12 acres or all.
And did I get that right? Life estate on the whole thing or just the 5?
Just the 5. She's going to sign off on the life estate on the remainder of the property. So.
Go ahead, James, then Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lynn, out of all your years doing this, how many acres do you think you've dealt with?
Oh gosh, I'd have to look at the table. It's been a while.
Just curious.
I mean, if you look at Bonneville.
It's been a bunch.
Yeah, a couple of Kerr things and a couple of ARCO things and a couple of other funding things. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look.
Yeah.
I know it's close to probably at this point pushing 90 to 100 parcels. So a lot.
And a variety of sizes and shapes and acreages.
Yep, some that make me want to pull my hair out, some that.
The one I remember was the one up at Kalispell behind the old Walmart, which is now the U-Haul in the river there. That was one I remember you working on back when.
Yeah.
Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So when you do the Yellow Book appraisal, you're talking Yellow Book appraisal, you're talking about just doing the parcel from the highway to the river?
Mhm.
And
No,
then
I was, well, I
would there be
guess
two separate appraisals or just one?
I was gonna do just one. Because either way, the larger parcel effect comes in. But I suppose I could do two.
Well,
If-
it just seems to me like the highest value property is the riverfront. So in an appraisal situation, to make it fair for us, I mean, I want to buy it completely, and it makes sense. It's allotment. It's in trust. We need to give preference to this, and we're able to get a lot of trust property with one purchase. So it makes sense to put it on a priority or bump it up. But if we could segment out that more expensive parcel and BPA pay for it, because I know that scree slope isn't worth much. And some of that's not going to be worth, if you really look at it for development use, it's the flat land that's most valuable.
I'll ask the seller. He didn't want to do two transactions because his concern is that if he separates the river off, the rest is going to be worth too much less. And I guess I can visit with the appraiser about what the effects, or maybe even do two values there.
We'd still we'll buy it all, but in order for us to maximize BPA funding, that's what we would need to do.
Right. Yeah, I'll talk with the appraiser and perhaps get either two values if we can't justify it with Bonneville, and then at least we'll have more information. But Terry, I know, didn't want to do two transactions because his concern was just the rest wouldn't be worth enough and it wouldn't offset it. But I guess if I went the two value approach, we would know that.
Well, I guess, Mr. Chair, if you were able to find out where the future highway might go, and then just go north of that proposed line, maybe that would give us a few more acres under BPA.
True. Okay, yeah, I'll explore options.
Did the seller have an asking price?
No. I filled him in on our procedures that we have to do with Bonneville, and I just, the appraisal value has to be transparent. And I guess once I have a value, we'll just see whether it meets his expectations or not. I know a family member approached him to buy a portion of it, and they wanted a couple $100,000 for it, which I'm sure it's worth well more than that. And he kind of laughed. So I don't know if he's expecting it to be worth way more than it is, or if he's going to be in the right range.
So isn't that Burgess Creek?
I don't know if that has a name. I know it's
It comes out of Burgess Lake.
okay, must be then. And I believe it's intermittent. I don't think it's ephemeral.
Yeah, it's true. It is intermittent. It's see where the word 2576
Yes.
is? That's right where the creek is right along the toe of the forest land in that meadow. And it goes underneath right where the curve is over by the houses into the river underneath the highway. Yeah. And it comes out of Burgess Lake. Intermittent. It's intermittent fish habitat. Seasonal. We don't discriminate against seasonal fish habitat, do we?
Okay, Tom. Anyway, I guess with all the options we've discussed today, I guess first off, just we request the council express interest so we can start doing some due diligence, which I've already said. I already ordered an appraisal, so I started doing some. But I guess council to approve, I can come back if you want with kind of after I have more information, but just start some more due diligence. So I guess how would you like me to proceed other than, with.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to remind council that in our first river corridor plan that we adopted decades ago, and now the cultural river designation for the Flathead River, this falls within the Flathead River corridor, which gives it a priority over other actions that we take in consideration for its proximity and being on the river. So I definitely would make a motion to support acquisition of this and put it on a priority.
Got a motion to prioritize this property, second by Danielle. All in favor? We got 6-4, and I'm going to abstain.
Just follow question.
Oh, Martin, 7-4.
Would council like me to come back with kind of where after I have, say, 2 values and more options, or do you want me to just move ahead with whatever I come up with?
Like to be aware of what's happening?
Yeah, I think we'd like to see how we maximize BPA in this one.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, it'll probably be next fiscal year. So we'll yeah, I don't know how it fits into this fiscal year. I guess it could. I don't know. I mean, we're giving priorities to all trust properties. But this one has a secondary thing where we're picking up some of it with matching funds from BPA, and plus it's on the river. And as Carol said, it's a boundary property. So it has, it does have a priority. I just would want to make sure it would fit the budget. Like, yeah, I guess bring it back in.
Okay.
Make it happen.
Okay, well, once I have a little more information, then I'll come back with just, I guess, some more details on how this might move forward with some numbers. Possibly.
Mike said he grabbed some fish out of his pond and put it in the creek there.
All right, I'll have the guys do that this week.
Some of those landfish. Thanks, Lynn. Yeah.
It's a put and take fish.
We need Patricia now?
Mr. Chair, are we just kind of waiting for the next?
Yeah, they're on
Can-
their way over.
Can I give just a quick report on my little trip over to Helena last night?
Yeah, go ahead.
I went over to the Montana Budget Policy Center, 15th anniversary, reception. Jason Smith was there, different legislators were there. It was a good little event, probably about 40 people showed up. Basically, we talked about the creation of Montana Budget Policy Center, some of the early board members and executive staff from 2008. So those of you that might not be aware, Montana Budget Policy Center works on, it's kind of a think tank of sorts. Their main goal is to influence legislation in Helena that affect more predominantly lower income folk. So tribal members and tribal people in different parts of the state, low income, non-tribal folks. And so they've been going since 2008. So been a good organization. So went over there, got over there about 4 o'clock and left about 7. So good organization. I'm the vice president of the board. So been on it for, I don't know, 6, 7 years now. A good organization. It was good to see Jason Smith. He was there with one of his staff members from his organization, and they'll probably be coming and talking to us about supporting some potential legislation for helping urban Indian health folks. They're wanting to get legislation passed so that urban Indian health funding isn't taking away from tribal health funding on reservations. So that's their goal. They were trying to get Zinke's support, and he wasn't going to work with them unless they got some tribal support. So I said, best thing to do is come into council and present your issues. So be expecting Jason Smith be talking to us at some point. So, all right, thank you.
Sure. I guess since we got a little time, I went to the joint. Could I give an update? Much time do I gotta get to eat up? Oh. Went to there's actually Badrock Canyon MDT discussion, the joint elders groups, KCC and SQCC had quite a few people there. As always, they wanted to know where the rest of the council was. So I would hope if we ever do have these joint meetings or any meetings with elders that are scheduled, that we would try to make those priority. SPCC is tomorrow, or SQCC is tomorrow, I believe. Their elders meeting, so you guys can make it 9 o'clock at the Culture Committee Mission. And the architect engineering department and MDT will schedule time with us. They have kind of options with that little corridor. So, and some of the members from up north were wanting to have more, like, be there at that meeting as well when they come into here. So, hold on, I would let them know. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Mr. Chair, if I could bring up another quick one.
Go ahead, James.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Council. Just want to ask if we could work on getting a letter of support out to town of St. Ignatius on the, yeah, if you got it handy, go ahead. So St. Ignatius is applying for a grant from the Montana Coal Endowment Program. And so what they're working on is different problems that they're having in their sewer system in the city. And we do have a number of individual trust and tribal trust properties in the town of St. Ignatius. We also do have tribal member fee owners in St. Ignatius. So I attended their council meeting last week and they were talking about this and I said, would it help to have a letter from the tribes, and the mayor said, yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. So if it's okay, I would appreciate if we could develop a letter for approval at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, we did the groundbreaking yesterday in Arley for the skate park, and the lady from, I think it was DreamWorks, said that if you had some upgrades you wanted to do in Mission, they would reach out to you if you were interested. Yeah, because they said they have to come in and recover it or something because there's some gravel showing, and so they're going to redo that. They just used a product that they felt kind of was faulty, so they haven't used it in any future projects. So they are going to do that. They're going to recover it and get rid of the graffiti. But they also said if you wanted to do some addition or something.
Can you give me their number or have them? Okay.
Jennifer?
James Jordan just sent an email to you, just hearing this on council. Give me the green light and I can get it drafted, the letter.
Okay.
And Patricia Crochane is on Zoom.
Good morning.
You're up, Patricia. Go ahead.
Good morning. I came before council to request approval for the resolution to apply for the request for the proposal for the administration of a grant for us for the I'm sorry, I don't feel good. DHRD is requesting approval to submit for a grant to the Administration on Children, Youth and Families Children's Bureau for the funding opportunity for the HHS 2024 ACF ACYF state tribal partnerships to implement the best practices in the Indian Child Welfare Grant. It's a collaborative grant that we will be working on with the state as well as tribal court system and other stakeholders that we have. And we're just seeking approval to apply for that grant.
Any questions? Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Patricia. Kind of on a separate topic. I believe that you or Patricia Hibbler said that there was going to be a outside entity review of one of the programs within under your departments or one of your programs. Has that been completed? And if not, when is the deadline on that?
There was an assessment of social services. It was completed, and that was with the Child Capacity Center just recently in collaboration, and that was on the social services program, and it was completed. The outtake on that was done, and we are working on that portion of it, and it was a good assessment of social services program.
Mr. Chair.
Good, Martin.
Follow up. Can we get a copy of that, Patricia?
Yes.
Motion by Carol to approve the submission of a proposal for documents to the Administration on Children, Youth and Family Children's Bureau for the funding opportunity that'll strengthen the collaboration between state tribal partners, implement best practices in Indian child welfare. Second by Tom. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Patricia.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Hey, Renee.
CSKT, good morning. Mr. Chair, members of council, my presentation starts on page 15. We have a current policy in place. It's been in place for a number of years, and we're requesting approval of a revised employee awards program. On page 16, it's the current awards program. You can see there's quite a few Pendleton blankets given out. And then on page 17 is the requested revisions that we want to make for 5 years of service. The employee gets a gift certificate, or not a gift certificate, a certificate signed by the tribal chairman that's sent through internal mail, and that will remain the same. 10 years of service, they get the 10-year service award pin. That will remain the same. 15 years, they get a 15-year service award pin that has a ruby. That will remain the same. 20 years of service, we give the 20-year service award pin with a diamond. And what we've given in the past is a Pendleton blanket. We're requesting to change that to a gift certificate for either the Three Chiefs Cultural Center or the Bison Range Gift Shop. 25 years of service will remain the same. It's $250 gift certificate. 30 years, $500 gift certificate, remaining the same.
Renee?
Yes.
Got a question.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. The gift certificate through all these are all for the Bison Range or the Three Chiefs?
Yes.
Okay.
No, the gift certificates are for, the gift certificates that the employees get for their years of service would be for a business that they select. But the gift certificate that we'd give instead of a Pendleton blanket would be for the cultural center or the Bison Range gift shop. That makes sense. The present cost of a Pendleton blanket that we're paying right now is $290. So this will save a little bit of money for the personnel department budget because it comes out of our budget.
Go ahead, Danielle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm really not a fan of saying I appreciate you after 5 years through internal mail. It's, I know I'm seeing that there's budget constraints, and I think we need to look at the budget for this because these are our associates, and I feel we need to really incentivize them to be with us. It costs less to keep good associates and show them we appreciate them than it does to keep retraining associates and new hires and that paperwork process. And I'm not sure how dated the current ones are, but I think we need to look at the budget and what we're giving you guys as far as employee incentives and look at this and do better. I think we need to give our associates a little bit more than a pin or an email after so many years of service. So no criticism to what you guys are doing because I know you're working within your budget, but I think, yeah, check the budget again and maybe see what more we can do.
Mr. Chairman.
James.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with the comments, Danielle. I would want to ask one suggestion. Have you heard of the 8th generation? They do native blankets and all kinds of things out of Seattle. Yeah, I'll send you that link, and they have some really awesome options that are pretty cool and a lot You actually can follow all the different native artists. You click on a native artist and you can look at all the different things that that particular artist has made. It gives a little bit more variety than just the Pendleton and different costs as well. So I'll email that to you, and just something to consider, maybe another option for folks that might want to look at different things. And they've got blankets, they've got all kinds of things there. And it's I've been to their shop there in Seattle, and it's pretty cool place, pretty cool product. So I'll email that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Like that idea, Danielle and James, but I also think, you know, this day and age, 50, $100 helps, because, you know, you just have needs, but I appreciate what you've done to this point. I mean, you're doing within your budget, so this is not a knock, but certainly I think, like Danielle said, we can do better for these people that are probably the very beginnings of their work stages, and so I think even some swag with the CSKT logo. I love seeing t-shirts everywhere I go. I think, oh man, they must work for CSKT because they got the logo on, or even a jacket would be great. But I think that would be something nice. And the big logo, I mean, you know, I brought a t-shirt home for my little guy from DC, and it had the seal on it, you know, and he just feels like he's presidential. So I think, yeah, whatever we can do to advertise ourselves and let the county know there's a lot of us, and don't underestimate us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Carol, for bringing that up. I'm a swag component cheerleader. I love swag. I think that onboarding a beginning employee, we should give them a shirt or a hat or something that says CSKT, because you're now part of our family. And then all the time at intervals, we provide swag to our workforce throughout their duration of their careers working for us. I really love the sweatshirts that we gave out a year and a half ago. I was proud to see those everywhere. I still am proud to see them today. But I think that, you know, I love that. I love to let people know that we're here and they see that we're the majority in a building or a place, and we're, you know, that's just fantastic for me. I really like that. But I think people use that kind of stuff. I've never worn a pen that I've gotten, ever. In fact, I don't even know where they're at, to tell you the truth. So, you know, I prefer swag, that kind of something that I would actually use, but that's just me. That's it. There's my swag. Yeah. I get swag. The one thing that I would really, you know, and sometimes the more custom it is, the more intimate it is. So I know I got some key change to give out at a thing that Jen got for me from the Carpenter Girl, Ginger. Something like that, like a little beaded, you know, keychain, you know, something like that we're buying from our own local production. Again, that's what they would pick up at Three Chiefs, hopefully, or at the Bison Ranch gift shop. But even that kind of a contract where you just go out and say, hey, I want to bid for, you know, beaded medallions or something like that that would be unique to the tribes, that would be given out, that's really custom. And we're circulating our money within our own folks. And that's kind of nice for the t-shirts. You can go to a tribal t-shirt shop or something that we're putting it together. You know, giving a money gift certificate, somebody could, you know, eventually buy through our own meat processing plant, you know, half a beef or something, you know, something like that that's locally grown. That'll be cool. We rarely get to that point, but thank you for bringing this in. I support all of it.
Good, Carol. Could you do a budget? Would it be okay if she provided us a budget figure on what she thinks it might cost for like the swag and that kind of thing, so we can approve something? I mean, we're telling her to do something, but you can't do anything without money. So we need to see what she would think that it may cost.
No, I definitely agree with an incentive budget of some sort here.
That sounds about right. Do you still want to recognize the employee every 5 years then, or move to
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. I think it's good for the morale to keep, recognition every 5 years for the employees, so.
We had directed someone to start looking into swag, I thought. And don't put the date on it, because you put the date on it. I mean, we're giving away 2022 employee appreciation, and I would love to have one of those keychains, but I don't like things with dates on them. Like giving away last year's losing Super Bowl shirts to a third world country.
So what are the thoughts on the proposed policy? Do we need a little revamping of that, given this comeback?
We can do that.
Cool.
Okay. I'll go check that money tree out there. Thank you.
One other thing, Renee, could you, even if it's just for us, I know the termination hire list thing you quit doing because legal said that we couldn't put in the Charcusta, but that was still helpful at our level to see hires. And then I actually have another question in executive real quick, if we got time.
Out of regular into executive, back in. Motion by Len, second by Carol to use Brian, what's your, Hoganson? For Casey's alternate while he's on vacation. All in favor? Unanimous. With that, we will go back into executive. I would entertain a motion. Motion by Jimmy for the resolution. James a second. All in favor? That's 6-4 and Len out of the room. Thank you, Lana.
Chelsea, do you have any other issues? I think it
Great.
was passed, so we're moving forward. If
That's
you can get that submitted before Friday, that would be great.
Yes, thank you very much, Council. Enjoy your lunch and we'll get it submitted. Thank you.
I think that concludes legal update today. Sorry it took us so long. I know the Public Law 280 is a issue that's going to take us long for the rest of probably the rest of our existence, but hopefully not. So let's keep moving forward in a positive era. I think if we come up with solutions, that's probably going to be the best for our members and different. So let us know if we can provide any other additional stuff for that coming forward. And I know I'll let, Jen has said that she was willing to help, and other of the support staff probably with the things that we'll be discussing tomorrow. So I'll let them know.
Thanks, Lana.
Thank you.
What time do you got Lance coming?
1:30.
1:30? Is that too soon? Should make it 2? Okay, 1:30? Half hour lunch? We'll break for lunch. Back out 1:30. Burnt,
You guys
yes,
have
I
broadband
hear ya.
update after this. Broadband update after this, because that was the chairman's meeting, but it got pushed for this afternoon.
I will rush through this then. Resolution for Ada Davis with edits, go up for legal review and everything before we get to Abby and to chairman for signature. Approval for purchase of Ada Davis's 10 acres. Yes, next action item up that we would be needing approval on is the purchase of Alan Sloan's property around Butte on a contract for deed for 2 years. The next action item up was the 2 fee patents, but we will be talking with them, so we will not bring those in for action items at this moment. Another item is going to be an action item is approval of spring bids with, you need to get the lease numbers of those ones.
Ooh, just these, or do I have to break out all of April?
April's and everybody's.
Well, first, can we do like 1541 and 1548 starting immediately on Elma McDonald's?
Yep.
Were we going to approve all these together and accept the ones for Martin, accept the ones for James, and accept for Carol?
Yeah, we could do it that way. Can we approve the spring bids with the abstentions of James on
Dan Decker.
Dan Decker's?
Yeah.
But we do have to make some decisions first.
Right.
The Alicia
So,
Berlin decision.
right, that's what I was saying on Elmo McDonald's 1541 and 1548. Can he begin immediately?
Motion by Martin, second by Danielle. All in favor? Early begin.
Okay. Alicia Berlin 2271, can she come in at her best bid instead of meeting the high?
Motion by James. Second by Jimmy. All in favor? 7, unanimous.
Okay, 5774 and 5775, both lessees missed the bid. Are we gonna accept their bids now, or do you want them to roll over into the fall? They are tribal. Jamie Corville and Donna Marks. Accept their bids now.
Motion by Carol, second by Danielle. All in favor? Unanimous.
Okay, lease 4767. Dan Decker, are we gonna allow him to meet high bid? Or are we gonna accept his bid of 2350 on that allotment? High bid is a non-tribal at 5,000.
Motion by Martin to meet high bid. What?
Let him meet high bid.
Jimmy second.
High bidder is not tribal.
It is individual trust.
Yeah, we don't usually let them meet high bids on allotments. But we,
As the tribal member on this allotment and the tribes being the majority owner.
And that's because of the. Right,
yes.
that's the whole thing. So we got a motion by Martin and a second by Jimmy. All in favor? That's unanimous.
Abstain.
And that one you'll abstain on, okay,
Abstain
okay.
related.
And now it would be,
Accept all the high bids.
with abstentions from Martin and Carol and their family members.
And then Dan has another one, 4022, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, 4022, that 80 acres or 50 or something.
Yeah.
Need a motion to accept the high bids with, and then we'll say the exceptions. So motion by Carol to accept the high bids, second by Jimmy. With the exception of Dan Deckers with James, with April Charlo's, with Martin, with Danielle Torgerson on Carol. All in favor? Unanimous.
Okay.
Motion for tribal member to create a home site on lease 5759 of a tribal agricultural lease
Of 1 acre.
of 1 acre.
Excuse me, what?
Robert Charlo.
Sorry, yes. Sorry, my brain was.
Motion by Carol to allow the home site be carved out of the ag lease. Second by
He's not.
Danielle. All in favor? Unanimous. Abstain, Martin.
Request from Don Kaufman to lease 5 acres on the foothills and Mission Creek.
Need a motion by Danielle? Second by Martin. All in favor? That's it?
Nope. Motion for Victory Gardens to go into a 5-year contractual lease for the St. Ignatius site.
Motion by James, second by Martin. All in favor?
Need a motion for DreamWorks Skate Park to be able to utilize the water and the container from maintenance.
Motion by Jimmy, second by Carol. All in favor?
Motion to pursue with Dewar on moving forward on the Valley View property.
Motion by Danielle. Second by James. All in favor? Forward on the property.
And motion to continue moving forward with the Pandale discussion to go to next phase.
Carol, that's hers. Second by James. All in favor? Unanimous.
With that, I am wrapped up for the day. Oh, no, I'm not. Jetty Anderson Tower discussion. Was there ever any council action to move forward with the purchase of Dennis Anderson's towers? I know the discussion happened in executive session in the past. I just don't know. A buy-sell was being discussed. I don't know what the next step is. Good, Carol.
When I heard about this, I was a little bit caught side, so I called Greg and he said he can come down and fill us in. So until that happens, I would hope that we could just sit there on it until.
Sounds good with me. Just needed clarification. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Kenji.
Mr. Chair.
Very welcome. If you need anything else, please let me know.
Nope, all good.
Oh, you're good. I had a question today about floating holidays in July. I'm wondering if we can get that squeezed in today or latest Thursday.
I sent, Renee gave me the heads up on it. They need executive session.
We will go out of regular into executive.